Confirm me that they can see my screen.
Yeah, we can see the screen.
Yes,
David.
Hey.
Sounds good. Okay, so welcome to the 44th edition of BC Open Discussion. I did took a break from what's new in Business Center this week because of the time constraints, and then I was working on an internal project. So if time permits, I'll show you that. It's still under development. But at the same time, there was a good amount of questions, 5-6 questions, which were unanswered. So I thought, let's talk about those. And if time permits, then we'll open it for discussion. So let's go through the normals, which is where do you register? You register here every week. If you are here, like most of you, and you don't want to go through the registration process every time, just drop your name and email in the chat, and I'll make you default attendee going forward. So first, let's talk about what's going in community, which is interesting. So yesterday, this was kind of announced on Twitter, but it was super interesting what Jeremy is planning to do for the Business Central community. So the site is called as Spare Brained Ideas, and it is managed by Jeremy. If you don't know him, follow him on Twitter, subscribe to his YouTube channel, and go to his website, because there is a good amount of content that is bringing to the community, and that is divided in these steps. First, he says it's not a sprint, but when you go to the website, it looks like he is actually running a sprint on it. The second big thing that he's doing is the beginning corporation, and the idea around on this beginning corporation is to kind of understand how in the default we get this Cronus company, and he's trying to split these into more logical piece, like this company sells this company sells this, and then try to understand how all that works. And this all will happen on a live stream. Then, oh, sorry, I guess I misstepped on that, but there's something on the beginning corporation, and then the Cronus Foundation he's working on that, building rapid start so that we as community can use it for our use case scenarios, for our demos with customer. This all will be free on his website. And the interesting part is he's doing a mentoring stream where he's inviting people who need to learn NAB, or not NAB, but Business Central and how it works. They just need to have a basic accounting knowledge of how things work in accounting. And the last one is also interesting, where he's doing community code reviews. So if you're not sure about your code and it is something not a IP thing, which you are ready to share with the public, you can submit that code for the review, and there will be reviewers who will review your code on a live stream and will suggest you how better this can be done. So I think all these are great contribution to the community, and here are the timelines when it will happen. It's not a sprint, happens every other Friday. The beginning corporation happens on Monday live stream, Cronus Foundation on Wednesday live streams. Mentoring stream happens every Thursday. I guess it's a 4-hour slot. And the people who will be mentored, they can apply on his website. If the slots are full, then you can surely follow the live stream or recording later on the YouTube. And the community code review happens every last Tuesday of every month. Here are his different places where you should go and check this out, which is on the YouTube, on Twitter, and then this website. And let me quickly open the website. If I haven't, I should have that somewhere. And let's see this for a while. So this is the community page of Spare Brained Ideas, and these are the kind of projects that he's planning. It's not a sprint, I guess. We talked about it a little bit on Monday's live stream. Yeah, he's building a game using Business Central Engine as platform, and I guess he did it last year also, so he'll continue from there. This is the Cronus Foundation one, which I was talking about, how that data can then be utilized for everybody. mentoring stream, and then the community code reviews. So figure out whatever you are interested in. Here is the first video, I guess. Yeah, it's not a sprint 2021. And he talks about all these things in his last stream, which happened 20 years ago. And here is his Twitter. So go ahead. I'm pretty sure there will be good amount of learnings. People who are new in Business Central or NAV and don't know the product. Mentoring stream is something that you should either be part of or should be following it on YouTube if you can't be there on that time. And then others, like I would be interested in seeing the community code review for sure and the Kronos Foundation. Anyone else have any thoughts before we jump into questions? Okay, so let's see what questions are here for us today. The first one comes from Balaji, and Balaji is here, I guess. Yes. And this is around the focus mode on a page get disabled when the page is run using run model. Any workaround available to have focus mode? And I haven't tried it, but Balaji, did you try that?
Yeah, so the page I was facing one this problem, like when I design a page or when the page is designed using this run model function, so there we didn't have that the platform feature, that is the focus mode.
When the page is ran using the run model, you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it, and that's interesting to see. Let me see if I can connect to my. Anybody else have seen this situation? I haven't, or maybe I haven't tried this. Okay, so the focus mode, what should I do? Okay, let's do a action on. Okay. 0101, and let's extend my sales order. Okay. Now let's add an action here. Add after hit at last. And let me zoom this in for everybody. Okay. And let's put it on approval. We are just testing this. Okay. So if you do a run model, let's create a page variable page into, let's say, sales order subform. Just to pick one. And let's do okay, but your focus mode, okay, let's test this. Is it even showing that situation or not? Okay. So let's go to sales orders and let's look on. I did it, add it on where under approvals. This was sales order. Okay. I can see that, sir.
Okay.
Oh no, this is just the big icon, right? Not the focus mode.
This is the zoom. Focus mode is the small one which comes.
Yeah, this one you're saying, right?
Yes.
So which page, can you give us detail which page you are trying to run so that we may be able to help you with that?
I also found it in the base. So when you go to any payment journal, so there you
Okay.
can, there is a page where you can open to apply the entries. So that is actually run using this run modal function.
Oh, you should have told us this first. Okay, so apply entries. Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh,
this
so
is a
you're talking
subform.
about this
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
This
Yes.
is this a subform? Or I don't think this is a subform. Let's see. This is my apply vendor ledger entry 233. So let's come back to code and let's try to do extension 2. And this is apply vendor ledger entry. Okay. And it seems to me that it is not a subform, but let's see that here. Yeah, it is a worksheet type form where the group
Uh-huh.
journal contains your this, and then this is not a subform. It's just part of that same page.
Okay.
So
Fine.
you only get that mode in a sub page where there are less number of lines where you can expand it.
Okay, fine. I was maybe my example was wrong, but I was actually my team was developing a page which has two subforms in one. It was actually a card page like sales document page. They had two subforms in it, and then we were not. I mean, that page opens using this run modal function. So during that time, we were not able to zoom that sub pages because that focus mode was not zooming. This focus mode was not there, so they were not able to click that focus mode. So then I had a query then I had an feedback from them that using the run modal function, we cannot have focus mode in Business Central.
I'll have to test it, and maybe I'll reply you on email. So what you're saying that you have two subforms in that page, right? Or two
Y-
sub pages.
Yeah, so we had from the sales order, you can, I mean, there is another page which opens on run modal function, and that page had two subforms. Like you can assume that sales line, there was another subform, and those two subforms didn't have that focus mode.
Okay, and especially when you do run model. So if you are
Yeah.
running it normally, it's showing you the focus mode.
Yeah, normally it does, but using the run model, it doesn't.
No, let me give it a try. And maybe I'll reply you on email because I already have an email from you. So
Yeah,
I'll check that.
sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the next question that you have is it possible to hide fast tabs in pages using the page customization action? And are you talking about from the code or from the design mode?
From the design mode, like in the earlier versions, nav versions, we can use this customize page option from the RTC client, and then we can hide the fast tabs. But in Business Central, I was trying, but I was not able to do hide the fast tabs using this personalization feature is there on page. Also, I tried,
Yes, right.
and also using the roles page customize uh,
Roles. Yeah.
customize roles. Yeah.
But I think you can do it from code, and the best part is that it doesn't consume a object ID when you're using the page customization. So let me see that. So let's say we are on this customer card and we don't want to see the address and contact, or maybe let's stick to the sales and sales order because we already have a page extension on it, right? So I might change that. But okay. So let's say we don't want to see the invoicing detail. Okay. So what I can do is I can just clear this out and do a T-page customization. And this is my test custom. And as you can see, there is no object ID that is being consumed with this. I can do a sales order, and I'm pretty sure that I should be able to modify, let's see, a group name, which is invoice detail. Okay, invoice detail. And I'm pretty sure that is visible. Yes. So if I set it to like this, does it compile? Yes, it does. So let's publish this and see the sales order page. Okay. So here we are, and sales orders. Once you are on sales order, oh, it's still visible even if it is set to be false. That's interesting. Okay. It didn't give a compilation issue, but it's still visible. Yeah, from the personalize, I'm pretty sure you cannot do it. And it seems you can't do it from the page customization also. Will it work with the page extension? That'll be interesting to see. Okay, Control Z. Let's go back where we were. Okay. And then if I do it here, modify payment, what was that? Invoice detail, sorry. Invoice details. And if I set it to visible false, this. Okay. Let's go to sales orders. Let's see here. Still visible. No, it's gone. So you can only do it from the page extension.
Okay.
Not from the page customization, even from the code perspective, and not from the design mode. Because if you can't do it from page customization, because that's what is used when you go into the personalized mode. It tries to do
Okay.
the page customization. But if you go to the design mode, and I would not, but you're saying you already went to the profile mode, right?
Yeah, yes.
Because if you go to the profiles, and let me see what my profile is right now. This is business manager. So if I come down here, where is my business manager? Business manager. Okay, if I try to customize the page, and that's a customized mode. So if I go now to my sales orders, and it doesn't show me that I'm on customized mode, because it normally shows you that there's no ribbon on top of it.
Yeah, yes.
That's weird. Okay, now it shows that sales orders, because this one should create page extension. So I'm hoping this should have it, but if you're saying let's give it a, oh, so I can't unhide whatever was hidden from the code, that makes sense. But I cannot also change this or hide this. Okay, that means it's limited to the code, that you'll have to do it from code.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else on this one?
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for
Okay.
answering.
Not a problem. I'll surely come back to you on that one, the earlier one which you talked about.
Sure.
So,
Thank you.
okay. Next we have is from Shubhas, and Miss Shubhas here. Yes, Shubhas is here. I've done the setup of Business Center. Now I'm trying to integrate the Magento orders customer product in Business Center using API. Use the base Business Central API or use the custom API always. And how to insert item customer order in Business Central using API. Okay.
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm new in the Business Central, starting working couple of week ago. So I'm learning, and I set up like how to use the default API in the Business Central, and I
Okay.
authenticate from the create Azure AD app. Okay, then I hitting the Business Central API through I have able to get the customers list like product list that I have done. So my question is like which API is better, like default Business Central API, or we can create that one is better.
So, the answer actually lies based on what kind of customs you have. So let me give you an example, which is, if I can share my screen here. Okay. So this is the base Microsoft app for from the base Microsoft app, I'm just opening the source code of the API app, right, which have all the APIs in it. So if okay, if let's say you said customer or vendor or item, right? If there is one for customer which is available, if the fields that are in this API will complete the requirement that you have to either import or insert the data or extract the data from Business Central, then I would say stick to the base Microsoft, right?
Okay.
But at the same time, if there are fields which you need, which are not part of that API, then you need to check is the base standard API is extensible or not. So if it is not extensible like this one, then you can't extend it. The best way in that case is copy the structure of the base. Change the IDs of this object to within your range. Change the name.
Okay.
Based on entity caption, entity set. Sorry, not this. Entity name and entity set name. The unique URL is generated. So you also want to change these two and publish it as a separate API. Only if the fields which are listed in this are not fulfilling your requirement, and that particular page is set to extensible false. Okay.
So there is a way
go ahead.
for customize API, like extend the default one and create the new one from the copy the structure of default one, right?
Yeah. So if it is extensible, it's easy. It's easier and it's best practice to use the base one, because if things changes in the base, you don't have to change your custom one going forward. Make sense?
Yes.
Right? If Microsoft enhances this in the next version, you will not have to redo that again. Because you are extending the base Microsoft one. But if it is not extensible, then yes, you will have to build your own completely new.
Okay. Got you.
When you are building a copy of the base app, base page, API page, remember this, which is this register field set. It seems not to be useful, but behind the scene, Microsoft uses this in that graph management code unit that they have, which does all these API transaction. This function you will find in every field that is part of the API. Okay, so if you are customizing it, then make sure that you include the fields in your custom fields that you are adding into the page. Okay. As in how you insert data, I guess we talked about it a while ago. So if you go back into my YouTube and see the past recordings, we did something pretty basic on APIs.
Okay. Sure, I will find out.
Yeah, and if you have any issues, we can surely talk about it again. But yeah, that's all it is.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, I got that. Thank you so much.
No problem. Next one is again from Balaji. Oh, so Balaji had some question in the previous week, and I guess we didn't answer that. So he had new questions. Okay. Technical architecture use case of GST calculation in BC 18. Balaji, I need to seriously find someone who can help you with this. I have no clue about how this is working in for India localization, because as we talked last time, I haven't worked on India localization from last 6 years or so. So I'll surely have to look for someone.
Sure, Saurabh sir.
The release document, I guess that you send me an email, and here it is. If you haven't seen it, or if you haven't find it yet, the link is this, and I'll maybe put it into chat. Here you can get the 2021 release wave 1 PDF. This includes all Dynamics 365, not just Business Central, but there is a section specifically about Business Central that you can read around what's changed.
Okay.
The The other thing that I was able to find out, which should help you, is a Microsoft doc specifically about the India local function. Okay, what are the different features available specifically for India? You'll be a better judge of reading these than me for sure.
Okay.
But there is good amount of documentation. I hope with this that you can utilize while you're working on your custom solutions and all. So it it's in a wide amount of details, good amount of details in this just one page about specifically about the India local functionality, which includes your GST and everything that we use in India.
Okay.
I'll put these links into the chat right now. So if you need them, you can surely utilize them. And yes, anybody here from India who have knowledge about GST and other local functionality, let me know. I'll be happy for you to be a presenter for a week or so, whatever it takes. So just to help developers and consultants in India. I don't know it, so I'll not try to be an expert on it for sure. Okay, so let me know if anybody's interested here to present on.
Yes, hi Saurabh. Hi
Hey,
Saurabh,
Gopal.
Gopal here. Yeah, so I am basically chartered accountant and working in Business Central functionality side. So I will help you, Balaji, to use the test case for GST calculation in BC18. So we will connect in a coming week and we'll discuss this.
Yeah.
That'll be
Thank
great.
you.
And Gopal, if you have any interest in presenting on a week, I'll be happy to host it. No problems. It's up to you.
Sure.
But I have no problems.
Sure.
If you guys want to talk about it, I'll be very much interested to help the India community, because not just GST, even the Business Central is new for the India community right now.
Yeah, thanks. So we will do it together. I will let you know that when I will be ready for a presentation and all the things.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Balaji, and thanks, Gopal.
Thank you, Saurabh, Gopal.
Okay. So now it's Jignesh. Jignesh, we have upgraded database from BC14 to 18 on-prem. We could not see the page view as Microsoft changed the personalization based on legacy personalization. Should we disable the legacy? Okay. So you should not disable I know people love personalization, right? And this was a huge problem when Microsoft changed from classic to role tailor client. People had to kind of leave their personalization of the zip files when they move to RTC. And it's not surprising, but because of the change in the client from the Windows client to be the modern or the web client, those personalization will need to be dropped, which are coming from the legacy and which are marked as legacy personalization. Does that make sense, Jignesh?
In some clients, they are doing so much personalization, like ordering of columns and all these things. So what should we like in the new version BC18? We don't have any this customized personalization. Should we get it back, or we should not do it?
So there are two ways of doing personalization, even in the Windows client, right? One is going into that personalized mode as administrator and setting up the baseline for every user fitting one profile, right? In the Windows client, there was that way where you go from command prompt to a specific profile and do some customization that gets saved. For that, the replacement is the profile mode, as me and Balaji were discussing a while ago, that administrators can still go to the profile mode and personalize a specific profile. So that changes will be available for all the users who are using that profile. As far as user level personalizations are concerned, you need to drop anything which is tagged as legacy personalization and understand it from this perspective. In some of your pages where the legacy personalization is, it may work as it is without any issues, but users will not be able to do any more personalization because of this legacy personalization. So the only way for them to do personalization going forward is drop all legacy personalization. As soon as you get into that mode of personalization on that page where there is a legacy personalization, you'll get an error or a locked sign, red lock sign here, that this page cannot be personalized because, and if you go into detail, you will identify that it is because of the legacy personalization. I don't know how they are stored now, but in the past, I know they were stored as XML, which Microsoft was not able to upgrade them into the future version. So I know it's hard for some users, but that's how the change is. You will have to drop those legacy ones and create again. Try this. I haven't tried this, what this one does, but try this, what it does. I don't know what this one does. I'll have to read about it, but there's a troubleshoot button on the personalized pages now. Okay, but yeah, personalization seems super important to some customers. I know, but that's how it is right now. We'll have to drop them.
There are also the line we can delete. Should we delete it from that personalization mode?
Which one?
This if you go to that manage,
Okay.
it is allowed to delete. So
yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Anything which is legacy, you should delete them.
Legacy means is there?
Yeah, not? Legacy means no. For me, it's not. But if you have upgraded, for anything that came from the previous version, will already have a tick mark there. So you can filter out where legacy personalization is yes, and then delete them.
Okay, then it will be work as previous.
No, it will not work as previous. It will work as a standard, and they'll have to set that them again.
Okay.
Because right now it might be working as previous, but the problem is user cannot do any more personalization till the point the legacy ones are deleted.
Okay.
So it's important that you drop them and then they create them again as they wanted.
Okay.
Okay, moving forward. Again, your question. Okay, we have upgraded from 14 to 18. Customer is having data in purchase price table. We can use the new pricing module in BC18. How to do that? Okay, so that's simple enough. You just go into this page, the feature management page, right? Go into the feature management page, identify the new pricing engine, the sales pricing experience, and enable it. When you enable it, it'll go through a data update process, and you can't come back to the old pricing experience. So do it on a test environment first. Take a backup of your database if they may change their plan, or if your custom extension may have a dependency with the old pricing tables and structure.
Yes, in the extension, they are also using a price table. So for that, we need to modify that extension also, right?
Yes, that extension will be changed. So the best way would be create is not a sandbox because you are on-prem. Create a test database, separate test database. Go to feature management, enable this feature, and when you enable this, it actually goes through a set of data migration process. Okay. So here it is. What is updated record from these tables will be updated and copied to the price list header and price list line. So all these table data will be moved to the price list header and the line table. Okay, and then you accept the update and you say next, and system start as in you can also see what data will be changed. There's no data to be updated. Okay, but yeah, once you click next, you can either schedule that update process, or you can update it right away based on how much is the data. And that's it. The new sales pricing module will be enabled, and then go to your VS Code, see what else is breaking in your custom code, and you'll have to fix it along that line.
Okay.
But as I said, create a test database and do it there before actually doing it, and see the implication of it on your custom extension and on the data that you might have on the table extensions.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next question, which is, and this came from email, and I guess I told people who are here that if you don't put it on a public forum, I normally hide the name. But the question was around, what's the best maintenance plan for BC database in SQL Server? And I might not be the right guy for this, but I have a basic maintenance plans idea around it. So let's see that how it is, how you can set it up. So this is my SQL Server. Now the idea is to have a basic maintenance plan, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. My idea is that normally a database that you have on a production environment that is already will be set to be on the recovery model as full or bulk load, but never will be simple. And the first thing that I would suggest is take that backup of the database, which is pretty obvious before you are doing any changes in your database. Then change the recovery model to be simple, and later on you can do SQL index compression, or not compression, but let's see what options are available in default SQL. So if you're on SQL and you have SQL Server agent service running, you can actually come into this section under management called maintenance plan. And there are a good amount of options here, like you can run a wizard for maintenance plan, which tells you about predefined options which are available. So let's see what those are. It says I can do these things if you want, which is check database integrity, shrink the database if needed, reorganize indexes. Let's say I want to do that. Rebuild my indexes, update stats, which are your what we call them, some index fields, and then let's say take a full database of backup. And let's assume this is the order that I want to follow them. Then you can define the order. So the first thing that I want to do is take a full backup. Then I want to do my reorganizing of index, then rebuilding index, and then update stats. And you can move these as per your need. Then here you can select one or all the database that you have. This is for the backup process, and you can define where that goes to. Mine is going by default on this path, so you can change that if needed. If you want to have a compressed database, you can do that here, and other settings are there. In the same way, for reorganizing index, which database you want, and then there are other options. Then for rebuilding index, you can choose a database, set other options, and then this is for the update stat task. So you can choose a database, and then if you want to write a report, you can do that. If you have the SQL email or database mail enabled, you can even email that, but that option will only come if you have configured the database email, which needs an operator and all. So by default, it'll write the file here, and you can just say next, finish this. This will give you a basic plan that you may utilize for your SQL maintenance, right? here it is. This is how it looks like, and this is what will happen when you run this maintenance plan, which is all the steps that we have written. But as I was saying, I actually want to start first from taking backup and then make sure that I change the recovery model to simple so that I can actually shrink the database after I have done this, because this will expand the log file of my database. So which was not an option there. So in those situations, let's say if I have to change the recovery model to simple, I can come here and say, okay, if I want to do the recovery model to simple, what is my SQL query for that? So I can get the SQL query using this button, and this is what I get. So I can copy this, come back to my maintenance plan, and you get a toolbox here for the maintenance plan, where you see these different kind of options which we chose while we were doing this, but also that you can run a TSQL statement. So I just double clicked it, it's here, and then I can configure this. Let's see. Okay, here it is, and this is my TSQL statement that I want to change it to simple, and I can set okay. Now I want to place it after the backup is done, so I can just place it here, and then I can change the constraint to be, oh sorry, I should have it here. Okay, so I should change it. Okay, delete precedence to my reorganize index. Okay, and then I'll change this one. So I'll kind of remove this one, and I'll change this one to be my execute SQL statement. And then let's rename this. Okay, and okay. Okay, so now this will happen, backup will happen, this simple will be done, these all steps will be done, and then update stats. And then I also need one more to change that recovery model to be back to full. So I can also add one more thing here and change my SQL query to be whatever it was. In my case, it is full. And then I can set from here that it should run the task one, and that goes like this. Now these are the steps that I've defined, and then you can define the schedule of it whenever you want it to run. On a big database, a maintenance plan like this should run especially on a weekend, because it may take time to rebuild and reorganize your indexes. And then once you are done with that, when you have scheduled it, and if you just want to test it someday, you can also execute it. So I can execute it and it'll start running that process. And there was a problem. And what is that? Let's see. It says okay, I'll have to fetch the details of it. It failed at one step somewhere. So you can also, if it fails, you can also run these pieces separately. So I can actually test this. If I know this correctly, I guess I can run this. Oh, that's weird. There used to be a way to run one specific command. Okay. It should be going to my D database backup. Does that drive exist or not? I guess that's the first question. that does exist. Okay, so which one is failing? One zero success, one error, execution failed, and oh, it says go to the event log and check this. So on your SQL server, you can also check your logs from here. The logs, and here is the detail about that error. Could not obtain it cannot obtain my user ID based on which I'm running. But give it a try. This should run. Whosoever question was that. This is my experience with the maintenance plan. I don't know. Anybody else have any other thoughts about what else can be part of a maintenance plan for a database, SQL on-prem SQL database?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. You just shouldn't use the SQL Management Studio maintenance plans. They really are terrible. If you've got a really small database, then they probably won't do much damage. But if you have any decent sized database, especially if you're having performance problems, they'll only make life worse for you. You really need to put proper maintenance in. It depends on your database size. Obviously, if it's a small database, 100, 150 gig, it's not going to be a problem. But when you get up to the 200 and the 1 terabyte style databases, you have to do it properly.
Oh, okay.
And unfortunately, the default, I mean, if you look at the old Hangren processes, you can use those. The problem is that most maintenance plans for SQL are designed for hard disks. And I don't know how many I don't have any customers that use hard disks anymore. So those whole tools are designed for hard disks, not SSDs. And with SSDs, you need completely different processes.
Okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
Yeah. So what's happening is that the maintenance plans, like for instance, you had a reorg, then you had a reindex, and then you had statistics. Now, as the index, basically the reorg organizes everything into a specific order, then reindex redoes that and then does it more. And at the same time, it does a full analysis of statistics over 100% of your data. Then you run statistics again, which actually reduces that to 20%. So you actually, that last step actually slows the database down afterwards. So unfortunately, those tools are so old, they're just out of date. And this process is not good for anything with SSDs on it. In SSDs, when you do reindex, you're trying to get rid of fragmentation, but you don't have fragmentation on an SSD, because with an SSD, it's RAM, it's RAM, which means random access. It's not sequential access, whereas hard disks are mechanical disks spinning around, and the head is literally scanning in sequence to read the data. So any modern hard disk drive built since probably 2010, these aren't good plans to work with. Maybe, once you've got a very intelligent controller, or if you run SSDs, it's not the way to go.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
And a discussion on how to do it is much, much longer. It's what I do. My living is made from SQL performance tuning on Navision. So it's all I do, and it's this tool that you run now, the maintenance plan, it's great for me. It really is, because most of my customers that come to me and tell me they have maintenance problems, the first thing I see is that they've done what you've done. They built this thing here, and I can charge them money to fix it, which is not good.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's a great insight. As in, yeah.
Yeah, if your database is, say, if you go back to your thing, the other thing is, don't ever switch to simple and then to full, right? So you've switched your database to simple. Now, what happens if you're doing log shipping? You will have shipped a database to another server, and that server is relying on the LSNs, right? The log sequence number, and the log sequence number tells it what the next log will be. Now you've broken that sequence here. So then you've gone back to a full. When you go back to a full, the next log that comes will have a brand new LSN. The restore on your log shipped server will say, hang on, the LSN is missing, and it will just get in a loop. It won't give you an error. it will just wait, and it will wait a month, 2 months, 3 months. It'll never tell you anything until your database crashes and you go to restore and you find that your database is your backup is 3 months old. So what you've done here can actually just destroy your backups. So it's unfortunately this tool is not a good one to use, and the process to explain that in more is that there's a lot more information. We sell our own tools for maintenance simply because these ones don't work. I know I don't want to mess your session up right now, but I would in a normal presentation, but since it's a Q&A, I thought it's better to interrupt because people don't want to be using this.
That makes sense, yeah. And and this is for everybody, as David brought a good point. Anybody who feels that this might be something wrong, as in I'm not an expert, as I said earlier, I guess in these sessions. I'm not an expert and I'm open for suggestions, as David was giving. Like, I learned this, that I should not be doing this. And I haven't been doing this, but this was one of my learnings that I did by reading about maintenance plan, maybe 7 years ago or 10 years ago. But it's a good insight, David, and I'll encourage everybody, if you have something where I might be saying completely wrong, and that's possible, guys, please feel free to jump in and correct me if I'm wrong. I put these recordings on YouTube, and if something is actually going bad, that doesn't make any sense. So thanks, David, and it's for everybody. If you think at any point I'm saying completely wrong, or is it even partially wrong, correct me there. That's okay.
I normally sit here, watch. I just listen and watch, but this time I had to say something.
Yeah.
Let's say you can't afford. I mean, it is expensive to do maintenance. You have to pay someone to do it because maintenance has to be different for every server, and just getting someone that's done it, you need an expert, and it's going to cost you quite a bit of money. You're going to be paying a few $1,000s to get your system set up. But let's say you got a small database. Let's say it's 100 gig. It's not big. It's going to be fine. Then what I would recommend, if you're going to use these maintenance plans, I would do re-indexing of the database maximum once a month. So I would do the first step, backup full, right? So keep that in place. I would change the mode to not too simple. Just type. Yeah, not too simple, but to bulk logged, right?
Okay.
I would re-index the whole database, and then I would switch it back to full, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but I wouldn't have reorganized, and I wouldn't have update statistics in that, right?
That makes sense.
Yeah, so this is what I do, and I maximum once a month, maybe even every 2 months. Do it rarely. Do not do this often, because and especially on Azure. If you're on Azure, it's going to cost you. It's very, very expensive to run this on Azure because it will generate masses of I/O, which is expensive in Azure. So this would be a simple one to do once a month. Now, then once every day if you want to, or at least once a week, I would run the statistics. So that is create a backup, statistics, and done. Don't change the bulk logs. Yeah. So re-index once a month, statistics every day, and that's all I would be doing. If you don't have the money to get an expert in, just do those two things, and that will at least keep your database pretty stable. Now, remember also that updating statistics only makes sense if you turn it off in the other system. So in that case, for the average user, you're probably better off just leaving default auto stats on. I don't like the auto stats. Auto stats are horrible, but they do the job. They just slow your system down. Yeah.
That's great. Thanks, Dave.
And and if you've got always on, if you've got always on availability, then definitely never use this, because it's catastrophic if you use all of this with always on. But anyone that's got enough money to use always on, that means they're running enterprise, they're running a lot of money, they can afford to get an expert in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, hope that helps. I'll let you get back to it.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so thanks, Dave, on that. And as in, this was more or less for today, but I had one personal project, which I was saying in the beginning, that I'm doing and I actually started this week. But this was around the, as in we all know, as in people who are from India, that for the vaccine registration, we have to go to this website or that mobile app that we have and get the vaccine. Get your schedule based on your PIN code or your district, and you can check the availability and things like that, and even book a slot based on your mobile number. And I've been visiting this for some of my relatives who call me because I'm titled as software developer, and people in India thinks that anybody who is a software developer can do anything which they are having hard time while doing it from their mobile phones. So I did visit this website for a while this week, and that's where I paid attention to this, where there's a section called Open APIs. Now I'll encourage everybody who want to play with this, and I'll put the code in my GitHub. But there are some APIs around the CoWIN website, which are about generating the OTP, confirm OTP, and before that, fetching the data into the system, which state you are, what district you are, and then check the appointment schedule. Give me a minute. Now, based on that, and this is just a side project, so anybody who's interested in it, I'll just put it on my GitHub, as I said, and I'm still working on it. This is my weekend fun sometime. So what I'm doing here is I have these tables, which as I said, is still in progress, which will store these data. In this case, it states, this is a district, I guess, which is working. Inspected pages, and then I'm still working on kind of finding the slot thing based on API. So anybody who's interested in learning API, I guess, and I'm also learning it, so I don't know much about it, but here's a logic which is kind of doing it. So let's run this through quickly and see what it is giving. And then I'll share the link of the GitHub where it is, the source code is, and anybody who's interested can go ahead and clone it. I'll be working on it whenever I get time, but the big idea is to kind of get registered from it, but otherwise at least get the slots availability using API. So I have this CW state as one of the page, where eventually I want all the state to be fetched in. Right now it's working on this action, which I have here called get states. It goes to that website. Based on that API, fetches all the states that are available in the website. So I'm not trying to fetch states from any other engine. It's just using the API for get states. Then for each state, there are different districts, and the state ID kind of becomes the index for the district. So here you have the get district, which will return you district at this point after it reads for each state, the districts that are available. So like for Andaman and Nicobar Island, these are the 3 districts. For Himachal Pradesh, these are the districts. For Delhi, these are the different districts. And I belong to Uttarakhand, so these are my districts. The next thing that just started working is this availability something. Let me see. Yeah, available slot. Still work in progress, but the idea is to have a document page here, fetch the state name from the list. Based on that, fetch the district name. And then, it's still not working. Then fetch the PIN code so that, and then there's a button that I'm planning so that it can, on the line section, it shows you the available slot and the vaccine name and the age barrier or the age group that particular slot is, that particular center is providing. So these are the different options which are available there, and utilize it if you want to learn API. I guess this is something where I was able to utilize my business central knowledge into a use case which we keep on looking for, right? So yeah, I'll get this up there on my GitHub, and I guess the repo name on GitHub should be something COVID or something, COVID app or something. Okay. And let me see if I can go to and see. Yeah, Covin is the app name. I haven't committed anything, but I'll just do it. So anybody who's interested can fetch it from here and learn API, and also utilize this for your friends and family or relatives to find a available slot on the area that they are living in, or the pin code that they they have, and check which vaccine is available, for which age group it is available, how many doses that they have. It's all available from that API engine, which I was showing here. And I might be doing something completely basic because I don't know much about how to fetch data from API. So it's more or less CL or AL code right now, which I'm using. But yeah, I'll invite everybody who is interested to write this code if they want. Okay. So we are already top of our hour. Anyone else have anything to talk about, or otherwise we'll call it for a day and then we'll meet next week. Okay. If nothing, then go ahead.
Yeah, last week we were saying about that container numbers. So did you find? I mean, did you check? Well, I mean, how
I
were the
didn't.
function?
I have that in my list, and I may come back on this next week. I still haven't figured that out because of I was a little bit busy with things, but I'll surely check that. Thanks, Balaji, for the reminder. I'll keep a note of it.
Thank you. Sure.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? Okay. Thank you then. See you next week, everybody.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
enjoy your Sunday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Saurav.
Thank you.